Hi everyone, welcome to my first devlog video. I've been meaning to make these for quite some time, and I figured doing a game jam, what better way to start doing them? Also testing out my brand new light as well for doing these sorts of face cam videos. But also expect to see much higher quality content in the future. If you've been around the channel for a good while, you'll know that my content hasn't always had the best of kind of big budgets. It's always been me sat in a room just recording stuff, much like this. So right now, I guess, for this video, pretty much the same thing as always. Anyway, getting right into the devlog, I have joined the very serious Juniper Dev Game Jam. This is a very serious game jam about building a game to a given theme, much like any other game jam. There's a limited time as well. And there's also prizes, so let's go through it very quickly, shall we? You can feel free to watch the video on Juniper Dev's channel, and skip ahead in this one, because, you're going to want to watch this one too, right? Right? That's what I thought. So, the very serious Juniper Dev Game Jam. What is this? This is a highly serious game jam hosted by the highly professional YouTuber Juniper.dev. Juniper.dev? Juniper Dev. You will have 7 days to make a very serious game. Obviously, it has to be serious. If you think this is some whimsical or super casual game jam with low stakes, clearly, you are mistaken. Juniper encourages everyone to join the Discord server to stay updated, as well as find a team if needed. You are able to work solo. You're also welcome to work as a team for this jam, much like any other jam. The theme has been announced over on Juniper's channel. The theme for this time around, this very first jam, I think it's the very first one. The theme for this is Spin to Win. I'll let you think about that while I go through the rest of this. So, the voting. This is a very serious game jam, so there are obviously insanely high stakes. You can expect your life to begin fraying away before your very eyes should you fail this jam. You're going to be rated by your game-making peers and by Juniper herself on enjoyment, creativity and theme use, visuals, audio, and seriousness. How serious is your game? The rules: no Gen AI or audio. That's a given in the game's dev community. If you are using Gen AI, doors over there, leave. Or that's my take on it anyway. You can work alone or in teams of any size on however many games you wish to submit. Pre-existing code and licensed assets are a-okay. Just make sure to credit everything you did in making your game description. Your game must run on web or Windows with nothing but a keyboard or mouse. No extra software, and games that require additional software / login will not be streamed or considered for the top picks. Obviously, no not safe for work or graphic gore, strong language, or other elements unsuitable to a general audience. I don't make the rules, I make the rules, as Juniper has said on there. Submitting a game gives her permission to feature in a video and play it on the stream because, yeah, it's her jam, her rules. She doesn't make the rules, but she makes the rules. And any late submissions, you've got a 24-hour window in which to fix any last-minute bugs or modify the game's page after the deadline has closed. After that 24-hour window, all files are locked in place. And on to the sponsors. A massive thank you to our very serious sponsors who are providing prizes in unique categories for a few winners. So Boo.dev for best first game. If this is your first game jam, your first game ever, they will be awarding one lucky winner, one lucky participant, a free year-long Boot.dev membership, plus an exclusive Boot Spare plushie. That's a pretty cool award. I wish this was my first game jam, but it's not. I have been using Boo.dev on the free side of things for a while now. Unfortunately, my memory is as much use as a chocolate fire guard, so trying to retain any of the information is very difficult, but it is a very well put together website. It is a very well gamified, serious way of learning how to code. The one I'm most interested in, Unreal Engine. Best Unreal Engine game, and if you can tell from what's behind the website layout in OBS, you can tell that I'm using Unreal Engine for my game, because I am quite knowledgeable, in quotations, in Unreal Engine. Mostly 4.27, but I have been working in Unreal 5 for a good year and a bit now, because of course, as you know, or for those who don't, I am a lecturer at a college, so I am the one who sadly doesn't fully teach Unreal Engine, but I have certainly been helping out a lot with Unreal Engine projects. So I have gotten to kind of delving quite a lot compared to my first year in teaching, which was all GameMaker, which was an engine I first learned to use back in 2019, and it's back in 2019. It had some problems. Oh boy, did it have some problems. But it was good. It was good, and the current version, genuinely a really solid engine. I actually genuinely fully like it. I've had a lot of complaints from students about it, but I think that's just because they don't want to learn it, honestly. So, Unreal Engine. Epic Games' Unreal Engine is the world's most open and advanced real-time 3D tool. Questionable, but let's say it is. Creators across games, film and television, broadcast and live events, architecture, automotive, simulation, and many other industries choose Unreal Engine to deliver cutting-edge content, interactive experiences, and immersive virtual worlds. They are providing $250 in Fab Marketplace credits. Awarded to the best Unreal Engine game. $250 can go a long, long way, or all be spent in one place on one really freaking solid piece, or asset pack, or piece of software, or tool, or add-on in the Fab store. I am rooting. I am so gunning for this. I am going to be pulling out all the stops on this game, and I think once I give you the rundown on what the game I'm building is, I think you might be on board with it. I just hope I can build it to what I want it to be before the deadline, because I don't want to be submitting it last second and not having a page to show for it. I want to be able to spend some actual time making the page. And then we go Crazy Games for the best web game. They will be providing a one-on-one specialist consultation. Game design, optimization, monetization, you name it. And that will be awarded to the best web game. We are not building this game for web. It is going to be built for Windows. I have not really delved much into web games a whole lot. I've only kind of recently dipped my toe into mobile games. So far it's been PC, tabletop, and mobile. So maybe in the future, once I refresh my memory on HTML, CSS, I will delve a little bit into web games. And then we get a nice little graphic there from Juniper saying good luck to everyone who participates. Oh boy! So that ends off the first segment of this video, so I guess we will get on to day number 1. Okay, this is the second time I'm recording this. The first time, for some reason the Unreal Editor decided it would mess up and break up the audio. So, day 1 and a bit. The little bit is because Juniper put out the announcement video for the theme 7 hours before I saw it. Sadly. So that's 7 hours of lost content, lost time that I will never get back and be able to work on this project, sadly. So everything I did today, I could have done yesterday had I seen that video on the second it was uploaded. But you know what? We take the wins where we can. I feel like today's progress has been pretty good in terms of giving a base to start with. I want to do a quick rundown of all the ideas that were thrown around, because all of that was done last night during that kind of 1 to 2 hour session with my fiance next to me. She helped kind of brainstorm a little bit. I was spent just kind of thinking about what spin to win means and what things actually spin. So I don't know if the microphone will pick me up when I kind of turn to the side a little. I use the whiteboard for this. If you don't have a whiteboard, you ain't living life properly. This thing saved my ass so many times. If it was not for this whiteboard, I wouldn't have gone through university. It is great for planning, scheduling, timekeeping, noting down how much rent you owe, that sort of shenanigans. It is fantastic. It is a fantastic piece of equipment to have whenever you're doing not only a project, but have to do any planning of any kind, even for just life in general. Anyway, besides the point. Spin to win. We decided to sit down and think about what actually spins, you know? So the first thing we thought about was helicopters. Helicopters spin. Yeah, you could build a helicopter game. Maybe you play as the helicopter. Maybe you have to guide something or be guided to, or try to get to something. I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it. Roulette, gambling. Everyone loves gambling, right? Gambling's fun. Fans spin. Your PC fans spin. Maybe you have to spin to win to by spinning to not have the PC overheat. Maybe that's the game, or maybe you're an actual fan, or maybe you have to buy. I don't know. People spinning. I wrote people spinning down because my brain thought, what spins? Hyperactive kids spin. They spin in a circle and go wee. So people spinning, maybe like grown adults could spin. Like you can spin on the spot if you want to. No one's gonna stop you. And if you're doing it in the comfort of your own home, who's seeing you? You could stand and spin in the spot like a freaking toddler does. Like no one's gonna stop you or judge you. Much. Richard, I'm watching you. Spin a story. That was one my fiance came up with. A really nice kind of like thinking outside the box sort of style one where you're spinning a story rather than actually physically spinning. So maybe you've got to kind of start off with an initial lie, or and then you've got to maybe spin it in such a way that people will understand and believe. I don't know. We were watching the thick of it last night. It was great. Spinning yarn, maybe a crochet or a knitting game where you're spinning yarn. I don't know. Boomerangs spin. You throw them, and they come back to you. Sometimes they hit you in the face, but sometimes they don't if you catch them. If your reflexes are good enough, they spin. Maybe it's a game where you've got to score as many points as you can for doing these kind of Tony Hawk style flips and like tricks and avoiding like certain obstacles, that sort of shit. Washing machines. I hear they live longer with Calgon, but apparently they also spin. Not apparently, they do spin. They spin a lot. I don't know how you build a washing machine game and make it interesting and fun. But someone out there probably could. In fact, my fiance said, what if you were a little guy inside the washing machine, and instead of you spinning, the world around you spins because you're inside the machine, and it's like a platformer where you've got to jump between the pieces of clothing and survive as long as you can until maybe the cycle's finished. That was an idea that was thrown around, and I did actually really quite like that one. Out of everything, that was like number 3 in the list for me. Um, Tops, so Beyblades. This was a tied second place with another one on the list. So Beyblades were mentioned, and I thought that's really cool. I like that idea of a Beyblade like simulator game. But my fiance said, "What about babies? Kids spin when they're hyperactive, so combo Beyblade with people spinning." And you get spinning babies. The babies are the Beyblades. It writes itself. Centrifuge were mentioned. Maybe you're a chemist. Maybe you're a scientist. I don't know. You gotta very carefully mix the chemicals together in a centrifuge. Maybe you've got to time when it stops, or like keep control of the speed somehow. DJ decks. Maybe you're a DJ, maybe in a radio station or more specifically a nightclub, playing music for people. Revolving doors. There's no real win. I don't know how to make that fun. Just they spin. Helicopter seeds were mentioned. My fiance had never heard of these, but they are. Look them up. They're little seeds that spin to the ground from trees, and you'll see them like on the ground and such. So I was like, oh yeah, yeah, that was it. I was like, what if you're a little guy and you gotta like hold on to the helicopter seat like as it's falling? Just this little tiny dude, like little tiny guy holding on and it's falling and you're going wee. But as it's falling, it like slows down and you have to like smack it or like blow it every now and then. But you have to like avoid obstacles that'll make you stop. So spin to win, you have to reach the ground safely. Because if it stops, you plummet. You know? And then you get squished because you hit the ground with such force that you just go. You know? Tornadoes were mentioned. They spin. So I thought, what about a game where you play as a tornado and you go to destroy stuff? You go to destroy cities and towns and villages and such. And the more you destroy, the bigger you get. But the bigger you get, the more you slow down when you're not destroying things. So the goal of the game is to keep spinning and don't stop. Because when you stop, you fail. You lose the game. So you have to be careful on getting smaller. Second last, we had spiders, spinning webs. Thought it was a cool idea. Can I think of anything off the top of my head? No. Could I think of anything off the top of my head last night when I was thinking of this? No. But there's something there. I just can't find it. Maybe you can. And then there's the idea that I settled on. Not just I, but my fiance and I are big anime fans. We watch a lot of anime, and one show that we have recently finished is Ruri Rocks. It is a show about geology as well as very heavy Yuri overtones. It is a show all about learning about rock hounding, about panning in rivers, where gems come from, how they're made naturally. It is a very, very interesting show. It is a very gorgeous show to look at as well. The animation is spectacular. The lighting, the environmental design, it's beautiful. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. But that was the main inspiration for this game. This is a game, you probably will have seen a quick glimpse of this bad boy. This drum-like thing. This is a rock tumbler. The game idea I thought of for a rock tumbler was a Balatro-style roguelike where you're tumbling rocks to meet a financial goal. And each round, you have to reach this goal within a time limit. Because the ore that you throw into the rock tumbler has a random timer on it that you have to tumble it for before it cracks open and gives you a gemstone that gives you money. I'll maybe draw a diagram on screen in editing for this to maybe show the full game loop for this. So each round, put an ore in the machine, timer starts. You tumble the ore. After a certain amount of time, a random time that the ore has created on it when it's made, the ore will break and it will give you a gemstone. When the gemstone is made, it will give you the full value of that gem straight away into the pot toward the financial goal that you have to reach. The timer will stop, the round will end, and it will go to the next round. That financial goal will increase quite substantially because every gem in your machine, in your rock tumbler, will stay there and continue to produce a small amount of money as it's being tumbled. The reason for the high increase is to encourage you to buy more ore to put in your machine. So as your financial goal increases, so does your number of ores and number of gems. The Balatro style element of it comes in between rounds. Between each round, you will get to go to the shop. There you will be able to buy ore to put in the machine. You will also be able to buy maybe other pieces of equipment found in a geology lab. For example, maybe a microscope, maybe I don't know, an ore cutting device. I forget what it's called. Maybe some other implements. And each thing will give you a buff or maybe like a passive or maybe an active ability or effect or buff to help you reach that next financial goal. And these things will show up in the shop randomly. However, the money you gain each round stays with you. You have to use the money you gain in the shop to buy things. So you've got to be very careful in terms of, in order to reach my financial goal, maybe this round I cannot spend any money because I am way too far away from it. But if you're quite close to it, hold on, I should hold my hands up. So if you're far away from your goal, maybe you don't want to spend any money. So you can utilize all the current money you have to reach that goal. Whereas if you have a lot going into a round, maybe you'd want to spend some money at the shop to, you know, increase your odds of exceeding the goal. See where I'm coming from? But there's going to be a few kind of catch-up mechanics as well thrown into the extra pieces. So if you are quite far behind, you might want to spend a little bit if you find like a certain thing in the shop or a certain couple things, that sort of thing. Might have like a gacha as well, maybe for fossils that maybe give rare like buffs, I don't know, or passive money over time, that sort of thing. Yeah, I think it'll be okay. I think it'll work quite well. So day one, I jumped into Blender. If I open the tumbler real quick, hop in the viewport, I went into Blender and modeled this drum. This kind of drum, very low poly drum with a couple of kind of ridges on the inside for it to be used. I put together a glass texture as well, so that's what this kind of weird effect is. It's the kind of glassy kind of texture as you're moving. However, I've put on a rotating movement tool as well. In the first recording I did of this, when I hit play on the editor, it messed up the audio quite a bit. So I will be transitioning in cuts of me playing the gameplay to showcase what I'm explaining. Inside the drum, I have this guy, this cube. All this cube is a spawn point. This is a spawn point for our ores, which are currently just cubes as well. They have physics on them, however, because when you start the game with ore in the array inventory, it's going to spawn them here. When you buy an ore, it's going to trigger the spawning as well. It's going to spawn all of them here. They're going to fall into the drum down here, and you can hold space to rotate the drum, the tumbler. I should be calling it a tumbler, not a drum. And they're just going to tumble. They're going to tumble around. And that's when the timer on each of the ores is going to start. So as they're being tumbled, they're going to crack, give you a gem, give you money. Currently, I've got it set up to just spawn whatever's in the inventory, which I don't have a way of adding to just yet, and rotate this. And they're just going to tumble around. That is all I have so far. I feel like this is a good kind of base for day one and a bit. A lot of the brainstorming got done really quickly, but I feel like this is a really solid idea to take forward. And being that I've still got another 5 days, roughly, to work on the game, and spend the last day working on the HIO page, I feel like 5 more days of work on this can go a long way, especially when I am completely free for 4 of those. I feel like this is going to be a pretty good project for not just the portfolio, but for the game jam in general. I'm highly looking forward to showcasing to you how the development goes. Thanks for watching. See you in day 2. Day 2. Welcome to day 2. So I started off day 2 by trying to fix the spawning system for the ore, which I think I got set up pretty well. The collision also seems to be working now as well. I had to actually go into the blueprint object and click on the static mesh to enable something called CCD, continuous collision detection. And I think it's through that I was able to fix essentially the collision. It's apparently a fix for if the physics object is moving at high speeds, or is colliding with multiple things. Like, for some reason, this is something you have to tick. Weird. The ore is also now set up slightly differently as well. So in the tumbler, the ore will spawn in when you start the round. There's some more user interface stuff there as well. When the ore spawns in, it will set its own timer. However, this is set up as just a basic integer variable. So it's going to pick a number between 10 and I think I set it to 30, which I've essentially kind of counted as it's going to pick somewhere between 10 and 30 seconds. Because apparently you can manipulate the event tick and tell it how often it should fire. I've been using this engine for 6 years, and actually 6-7 years roughly, and I wish I had known you could do this before now, because that would be so useful. So if there's one piece of information I could go back and tell, like, past Chris for doing uni and college work, it would be that you can alter and manipulate how often the event tick fires. That would have saved me so much stress. Oh, but I've learned how to do it. It's come through really well. It's an amazing piece of information to have, and it perfectly works. What I've done is I've manipulated it to say, rather than every frame it's checking, it's going to check I think it's the current frame after a certain time. So after 1 second is what I set it to. It's going to check the frame. And if that frame is, it's going to check that frame, and it's going to cast to the game instance, asking the game instance if you're currently tumbling, because I set up a boolean, so that when you press space, it changes this boolean to true. So it's going to ask if you're currently tumbling, and if you are, it's going to take 1 off of the timer countdown for the ore. So the game instance is going to change to the between this tumbling boolean when you're pressing space, essentially. So when the machine's moving. So when the ore's countdown hits 0, it's going to destroy itself, and it's going to add a gem into the machine. And when the gem is added, it's going to give you money into your bank account. Sadly, not in real life. I wish. I know. Into your bank account toward the financial goal that you need to reach to essentially win the round. That financial goal is what you need to hit. I have done away with the idea of the timer. So in other words, the timer that I thought of adding to each round, you have to tumble and gain this amount of money in this amount of time. I've done away with that, because I think I want to go in a different direction of just make it a round-based reach a goal, rather than reach a goal and have that added pressure of a time limit as well. I feel like it's unnecessary for this game, but who knows? It's still a prototype. I might add it back in. I might even just kind of mess about with it and test it, maybe day 3 or 4. But that's the kind of current standing of the actual gameplay itself, and what you can kind of do in the game. On top of that, I have finished off the game loop. So you start off in that HUD, that buy ore and start round user interface. However, I've added to that in terms of telling you what the next round's financial goal is, as well as what your current finance is. Because I want to tie that into buying the ore, as well as have a few other things on that HUD/shop menu that is going to be the kind of main menu at this moment in time. Until I add a proper main menu later down the line. But that's not something I have to worry about right now. That's typically something I leave till slightly later on, just to polish off stuff. So this HUD is going to be the main menu for now, for the next few days. And I want to tie in the finances with the buy ore and other things because I want the money to carry over and give the player the option of buying things that are going to help give them a bit of an edge in future rounds, or just do some really silly things that don't actually impact anything. Like maybe there's a passive that you can buy from the shop that just speeds up the tumbler. It has no added effect. That's it. It just speeds the tumbler up. But other than that, I have set up the full game loop. You can now reach that financial goal because of the gems being added. Once that financial goal is reached or not reached, you can press the stop button because it will switch user interfaces. As you come out of the shop to go into the actual gameplay, it will load up that user interface for the game. I think it's just called Round Overlay. Yeah. And there's a stop button on there so that you can tell it, hey, I want to stop this round because I've reached my goal, or I haven't reached the goal, so let's just stop the round, reset everything. So that's essentially it. If you reach the finances, press stop. It will come up on screen, round win. It will wait like I think 4 or 5 seconds, and then it will increase the round number, increase the financial goal, and take you back to the store front. If you don't reach that goal, however, it will show round loss, and then wait 4 or 5 seconds before resetting everything back to its default value and putting you back to that main storefront. So you've got that full game loop now at the end of day 2. You've also got the gameplay in the background of this video. I'm adding the face cam in separately on top of the gameplay rather than doing both at the same time, because as we saw from day 1, I had to re-record because the audio freaked out for some reason. Day 2 it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. I've made a lot of progress, I think, and it's coming together. Day 3, I want to focus more on the visuals and I think the audio. And then day 4, get back to the programming, the coding side of stuff. I want to take a break. I want to take a step back, start making things look nice, and sound nice as well. So with that, I will see you in day 3. Okay, I lied about the visual updates. Didn't mean to. I did have every intentions on doing visual updates. You've got a sneak peek of what I've done in the tabs of Unreal Engine that's open in the background here. Oh boy, I've added a lot. Now, on the surface, it doesn't look like I've added anything to the actual world, and honestly, I haven't added anything to the world itself. Everything I've done has been within user interface. Not everything. So I started off day 3. I'm combining day 3 and 4 because I worked on the one thing over 3 and 4. Started off day 3 by putting together this model and texture. It's not great. I'm gonna be swapping this out for a better one later in the line if I have the time. This is now the morning of day 5. And I've got only a couple of days to kind of finish things off. I feel like it's in a good position where I can just polish now. But knowing me, I might want to add more. So I start off day 3 with making this ore model and texture. Not great, but it's better than the cubes we were working with before. Along with that, I also added in a model and used just basic color textures, base colors for gems. That's about all I've did. All I've done. All I did. That's not proper England. All I've done in terms of visual upgrades. The other thing that I was working on, though, day 3, I added to the HUD. This in the center is a pick 3 shop. So when the game loads, you're going to immediately have the option to buy things in the shop. And you're going to be able to have that option between every single round. It is going to pick a random item from a structure and display the data in the shop. I have it set up so that when you click on the card widget that's in the 3 card widgets that's in the shop, because there's one wireframe, one base frame for it, and there's 3 of them in the shop. So when you click on it, it's going to read the data. It's going to say, the engine's going to ask what it is that you're buying, and then it's going to carry on through with a certain kind of piece of code. Now, there is probably a much better way of doing it than this. But I don't know how to do this better, so I thought for the sake of time, I would set up absolute fucking spaghetti code. But you know what? It works. And in the industry, if it works, then who really needs to know? It can be optimized later on down the line when I actually figure out how to make this a little better. Unless this is the best way of doing it. I don't know. This is the way I could come up with. The one thing I'm taking away from this, however, is I didn't know anything about putting user interfaces on user interfaces. So doing this project has taught me so much in terms of making this shop. Not only adding widgets to widgets, but being able to do a random data structure with a data set as well. I have learned so much from just day 3 and 4. It is incredible. You should have seen me. I was over the moon. My face was beaming the entirety of both days. I was in a great mood. Day 5, not sure how I'm feeling going into this. I haven't started on anything because I wanted to get this recorded, because I have not actually now recorded any devlog in about 2 nights. Hence why I'm doing 3 and 4 together, but I always kind of knew I was doing 3 and 4 together at the end of day 3, so. You'll have the gameplay open now to showcase what I've done. So when the game loads, you will have that shop on the HUD open up straight away. You will see that the starting money is at 50 now. I've done quite a few playtests of my own and balanced out cost and starting money, as well as the starting financial goal for you to reach. I've also reworked a little bit of the scaling for the rounds as well as the scaling of the costs, because each round the cost of the items does go up, and that is because you're kind of expected to buy at least maybe one thing from the shop each round. Sometimes you can buy 2, as well as a bunch of ores. I still need to add the price to the buy ore button, but that's what I'll be doing today, as well as a few other things. I think now, like I said, it's a case of just focus on polish for day 5. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm gonna head into work again. It's really nice and cool in there, where it is like an absolute oven in this office. So, yeah. I can't wait to see what day 5 brings, and I will record tonight to showcase what I've done. So, I'll see you at the end of day 5. Right, so I forgot to record day 5 and day 6. I believe I forgot to record 5 anyway. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is now the final day. I have already finished the game to as much as I can for the time limit, and it has been submitted to HIO. So down in the description, you will find the link to the game so you can yourself can download and play it. I am actually recording this a couple days after the submission, so although I say it's the last day, I'm kind of gonna make you think it is. It's not. It's actually 2 days after. So the last day for me was Friday night into the Saturday. This is now Monday. So I kind of procrastinated recording a little bit. So I've already had a few people play the game. I'll pop their comments up on screen as well as the number of how many have played it so far. Currently at the time of recording, I believe it's 4 people have played and rated, as well as 2 people left comments. So thank you very much if you are any of those 4 who played it. Highly and give ratings. Highly, highly, highly thank you all for trying out, leaving your ratings. And to the 2 who left comments, thank you so much for interacting in the comments section. I do very much appreciate that as well. Anyway, moving back to the game. So for the devlog, so Pop Rocks. It was originally going to be Tumbling Ore, which was a placeholder name. However, my fiance pitched the idea of the name Pop Rocks to me because I made the actual gems, and in the background on the main screen here, you'll see that the gems in quotations look a bit like kind of popping candy, like popping sweets sort of thing. So she told me the name Pop Rocks might fit, and yeah, it immediately stuck. I was like, fuck, that's a great idea. Let's go for it. She's helped me out a lot with this in terms of bouncing ideas around and helping out. It's been really good fun. So although the project's been an absolute blast to do, I've learned a lot from it. It has been incredibly draining both physically and mentally. Hence why it's taken me a couple of days to get this recording done to tack on to the end of the last day that was recorded to just perfectly finish off the entire devlog. I don't know how long this is going to end up being. I might chop a few bits out. So I think at the current standing, it's around half an hour to 40 minutes. But when you guys see this, it might be even shorter than that. So fingers crossed, because I would like to give a little shorter devlog. I'd like to get better at making these. But I think this being my first one, I think it's not been too bad. Anyway, I'm getting way off topic. So, Pop Rocks. To finalize, this is a rock tumbling game where you put ores into a big giant rock tumbler. I know before you say anything, you don't put ore into a rock tumbler to get gems. There's a bit of creative freedom here, so just don't get your knickers in a twist. You put ore into a giant rock tumbler, and after 15 to 25 seconds of holding space, you get some gems for it. When those gems spawn in, you get given some cash toward the financial goal. Financial goal does increase every round, and between those rounds, your money carries over, and you can spend your money at the shop on 3 randomly selected items from a data set. I think currently there is 13 available. Only one of those is actually free, and I felt I had to add that for not just kind of giving a bit of like cash to you as the player, but keeping the amount of things on screen to a minimum as well. But I'll let you figure out which one that is when you get to playing it. Link for that in the description again. So Pop Rocks, I'll throw in some gameplay in the background now while I talk. I think last we left off, you saw that there was just a lot of text on screen, so I've replaced some of the text with icons now, all sourced from gameicons.net, a fantastic, fantastic website to go to for any icons, symbols, or the likes. I think they've got over like 4,000 to 5,000 icons, and you can customize the colors, the backgrounds of them, and such. It's absolutely fantastic. Had I had more time, I would have tried to incorporate a bit more of them into the game, but unfortunately, into the last day, I was running out of time. I mean, like I said, the official deadline for me on my timeline, on my time zone was like 7 a.m. Saturday morning for the end of the game jam. So given that my lack of sleep was catching up with me, my official deadline was the end of Friday night. And so my final day working on this was spent just kind of adding a bit of visual polish, like UI and stuff, adding in some sound effects, which I don't have nearly as much of as I would have liked. I would have liked to have had a lot more, especially a soundtrack. There's no music to the main menu, as you can probably tell. There's no music to the actual main gameplay either. It really bums me out the fact that I didn't have the time to add these, or I did. It's not that I didn't look either, because I did try and look for some stuff. Yeah, I did spend some hours looking for some pieces of music for the soundtrack, but I just couldn't find anything that fit. If I had more time, I would have looked a bit harder and spent a bit more time looking, but unfortunately, I didn't time manage the best. Could have done it a little better. I'll know for next time. But this is like my fourth or fifth game jam now, so I'm learning a lot each time. So just all up from here, thankfully. So the last we left off, yeah, that's where we were. So last you left off, I think we had a kind of pick three shop system in place. No real images, no real icons for any of the items. I think if you've been keeping up with the Twitter or Blue Sky, the X or the Blue Sky posts, you will have seen the updates compared to what you saw in this video. I might show those on screen actually, just to showcase how I've been kind of posting on there. But between I think day 6 and I think between day 5 and 6, I did add 12 items to the pool with icons, with costs, with descriptions, and throughout day 6 and 7, especially 7, as I was doing the polish, not just for visual but audio as well. But I was doing a lot of maintenance and balancing for costs and effects. Turned out going into day 7, there was actually 3 items that literally just did not work at all. That's pretty much it. Balancing, adding in visuals, adding in some sound effects. I will leave you guys to check the game out. The link is in the description. I would have liked to have had a lot more done on it, but I feel like where it's currently at, current bugs included, when it does work, because unfortunately there's a bug on Unreal Engine's side that sometimes will cause it to just straight up crash when the game opens, sadly. And having done research into the issue, there is nothing I can do. Thanks, Unreal. Maybe I'll switch to Godot instead. I'll leave you to look at the game in the comment section down below. The description down below. Pop rocks, go and play it for yourself. Let me know what you think. Let me know what round you get to. And thank you for watching the game devlog thing. Thanks for watching the game, the devlog. I've had a lot of fun making this project. Had a lot of fun doing the video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.